The story begins with Dr. Alice, who was giving an interview on a news channel, sharing that they have found a permanent cure for cancer. Dr. Alice explains that they have tested the cure on 10,000 cancer patients and all of them got better. A few days later, we see Dr. Robert rushing to the airport with his wife Joy and daughter Marley. When they reach the airport, they notice that everyone in the city was at the airport, wanting to leave because those 10,000 patients who received the cancer medicine started turning into vampire mutants due to a wrong side effect. Their skin became sensitive to sunlight, and they turned into creatures that hunted humans during the night, referred to as dark seekers. Now, everyone in the city wants to escape from this situation by going to the airport and leaving the city. They wanted to save their lives, but security at the airport was checking everyone, allowing only those who were not infected to leave the city. When the military checked Drive, Robert and his family, they found them uninfected, allowing them to proceed. However, military officials later informed Drive, Robert, that he cannot leave because he needs to find a cure for the disease. Marley is placed in a helicopter, but as their helicopter takes off, another helicopter is attacked by dark seekers, causing it to crash. Dr. Robert is devastated to see his wife and daughter in the crashed helicopter. The story then jumps 3 years ahead, showing a world where almost everyone has turned into creatures, and only 1% of the population is surviving in hiding. We find Drive, Robert, who is now hunting for food with his dog. After a struggle, he finally manages to shoot a deer but is then attacked by a lioness in her family. He goes inside, and the alarm on Robert's watch starts ringing. Robert notices that the sun is about to set, and darkness will soon prevail. Anticipating this, all the dark seekers come out to hunt. Therefore, Robert, along with his dog, returns to his home. They lock all windows and doors, extinguish all lights before the darkness sets in. After securing the house, Robert and his dog settle in a box and go to sleep. After some time, Robert senses that it's safe to come out as the dark seekers have left, believing no one is there. Robert had been working on finding a cure for the virus in his lab at home. He had captured many infected mice for testing. Robert observes that all mice remain the same, except one that he had given the last dosage. This particular mouse seems calm and normal. Delighted, he realizes that he has finally developed an antidote. Now, it's time to test this antidote on a dark seeker. He makes a radio announcement, inviting any surviving humans who hear it and want to escape the dark seekers to meet him at South Street Bridge during the daytime. After a few moments, while playing golf, Robert notices a deer. He decides to hunt it for their meal. However, as they chase the deer, it enters a dark house. Robert follows, and as he reaches, he sees his own kind, a community living in hiding. In the lab, Robert spots a deer, the same one he had given the last dosage. As he is about to shoot it, a lioness attacks, and Robert is forced to retreat. Later, while playing golf, Robert sees the deer again, and this time, he manages to hunt it. However, as they celebrate, dark seekers attack, and Robert has to shoot his way out. The gunshots alerted the remaining dark seekers, so they chased Robert and Sam. One dark seeker leapt towards Robert, but he and Sam jumped out of a window. Outside, the bodies of the dark seekers burned in the sunlight, and Robert and Sam managed to escape. Seeing the broken window, Robert got an idea for his experiment, realizing he needed a dark seeker for testing. He first lured himself into a trap, throwing a rope with a noose around him into a dark room. After a moment of fear, a dark seeker fell into the trap, screaming. Robert attacked him forcefully, knocking him unconscious. Meanwhile, another dark seeker from the adjacent room shouted angrily at Robert to let him go, sounding human, almost pleading to be released. Robert takes the female dark seeker to his lab and injects her with the latest test medicine. He notices that she has a butterfly tattoo on her body. After a moment of fear, he observes that the medicine has normalized her heartbeat, which was initially rapid. Robert, feeling a glimmer of hope, sees that the female dark seeker is becoming more human. However, she suddenly tries to attack Robert, and in the struggle, she faints. Seeing this, Robert's hope shatters. The next day, while hunting with Sam, Robert encounters a statue on the road that seems strange. Irritated, he shoots the statue, causing water to pour out. Curious, Robert approaches the statue and discovers a hidden compartment. However, he gets involved in a trap and ends up hanging from the ceiling, unconscious, after getting injured in the head by the mechanism. In the evening, when Robert's alarm clock rings, he regains consciousness. Robert notices that he is hanging upside down, and below, his dog Sam is barking at him. Realizing that darkness is approaching, he quickly takes out his knife, cuts the rope, and falls down. However, in the process, his knife accidentally cuts his leg, causing him great pain. Just then, in the darkness, he sees the Dark Seeker he had trapped earlier. With her are two mutant dogs waiting for complete darkness. Frightened, Robert hurries towards his home. When the sun sets completely, the Dark Seeker releases her dogs to attack Robert and Sam. In a fit of rage, Robert shoots the two dogs, but during this, one dog bites him, infecting him with the virus. Robert rushes home and injects himself with the medicine but is now terrified as the virus has failed. The mutated Dark Seeker attacks Robert, forcing him to strangle her to protect himself. Robert is left devastated. He feels alone in a city without any companions except for Sam, whom he raised since childhood. Determined to avenge his dog's death, Robert ventures out in the night and encounters a group of Dark Seekers. In the ensuing confrontation, Robert gets accidentally injured and falls unconscious. The Dark Seeker, about to attack Robert, is suddenly exposed to a bright light, causing her to retreat, and Robert escapes. The next day, a girl approaches Robert, asking where he lives. In his kitchen, Robert hears noises, and when he investigates, he finds a woman and her children who explain they waited for him on the bridge all day as per his radio announcement. They encountered Dark Seekers, and with Robert's guidance, they survived. The lady reveals that she heard Robert's announcement on the radio and brought her family to his house. Robert engages in a fierce struggle to save himself. Having blasted the compartments one by one, Robert fights to survive as the number of zombies keeps increasing. While he manages to eliminate zombies around his home by exploding the setup of bombs he had placed, the sheer quantity overwhelms him, and he continues to fight for his life. Robert rushes to the lab, where he observes the effects of the medicine on the female zombie. The cure seems to be taking effect, but suddenly, numerous zombies start rapidly approaching the lab. In response, Robert quickly secures the lab with a bulletproof door. Desperately, he yells to the zombies that he has found a cure and can save them. As the horde gathers outside the lab, Robert manages to create a butterfly design on the door, indicating that he can help. In the midst of this, he recalls that the same butterfly tattoo was on the female zombie. Realizing she might be the leader, he decides to take her out of the lab, hoping to prevent an attack from the remaining zombies. Robert screams at the zombies, stunning them, and then takes out a syringe, extracting a bit of blue liquid from the female zombie. As he injects the blue substance, the female oxygen seeker regains consciousness and embraces her partner upon seeing him. The bus, with its passengers turned zombies, is led away by their revived leaders. The next morning, Robert, Anne, and their son head towards the war zone mode. Anne announces on the radio that they have found a cure for the virus and urges any surviving children to join them in the war zone mode. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more such content.